Hi, and welcome to Haunted AF, the podcast of real ghost stories told by real people. We are your hosts. I'm Julie Fisk.
And I'm Rebecca Black. Join us each Thursday as we share the terrifying tales people have sent to us from all over the world.
He started saying, I don't want to go upstairs because of the ghosts. The ghosts are up there.
Ghosts and goblins.
Bigfoot and UFOs, doppelgangers and those tricky glitches in the Matrix. We've got them all.
I hear my sister on the top phone say, Ashley, you could see pieces of her hair being twirled in thin air.
And just so you know, you can actually listen on our website, hauntedaf.com, or on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. Really, it's wherever you like to listen to your podcasts.
The DJ was taking call after call, and people were talking about seeing this green thing in the sky. But yeah, there was this glowing ball.
And once you've listened to the show and gotten properly freaked out, then you have to send your scary stories to hauntedafpodcast@gmail.com so we can share them all on the next Haunted AF.
Hey Queens, are you ready to level up? Then join our Patreon at patreon.com/the female dating strategy, where you can find weekly bonus content and FDS commentary on all the latest pop culture, relationship, and dating news. If you just want to listen to the extra bonus content, we have the Lurker Mode tier on our Patreon. If you want merchandise, access to the private FDS Patreon Discord, which also includes a monthly book club with FDS and feminist-themed books, as well as FDS merchandise, t-shirts, mugs, and the opportunity to discuss topics with the FDS Podcast Queens live, as well as submit stories for our Rose Disco Queen and Gnosis discussions on the podcast itself. So if you'd like access to all this and more, visit our Patreon at patreon.com/the female dating strategy. Hey Queens, FDS is taking a little break this week, so enjoy this bonus content from our Patreon called 40 Years a NEET, Reflections of a Stay-at-Home Son. For our Patreon subscribers, we will still have bonus content up on Friday. That's on patreon.com/the female dating strategy. Enjoy.
Welcome to this week's bonus content.
Hello, ladies.
Who are we dragging this week?
Who's our victim this week?
So after the Doreen the dog walker takedown, I was browsing Reddit and I came across what I actually think is probably up there with one of the most infuriating subreddits on Reddit. And it's called the Not in Education, Employment or Training. And they call it NEET for short, NEET. NEET for short. And it's basically a subreddit full of people who have chosen not to be in education, employment or training, and they want to live that lifestyle literally until they drop dead.
Are NEET. So basically, yeah, it's worse than anti-work.
It's worse
in
than
my opinion.
anti-work, yeah.
Yeah, anti-work has become like a generalized labor movement, with the exception of the ill-named and just ill actually in general. Ill existence of Doreen the dog walker. We mentioned the concept of NEET on that episode, the female political strategy episode we did on Doreen, and a lot of people were asking about it. Like, it's basically a group of men, generally men, and it's overwhelming men, like Savannah said, that they just don't do shit in life. They just have they don't do shit and have zero desire to. And they formed a little club on Reddit because, of course, that's where all the useless males congregate. Perpetually online useless males.
And it's not even just online. Like, in my personal life, I've volunteered at a homeless shelter for a number of years now, and we see this all the time. There'll be healthy men who are getting sick notes from the doctor, because basically in the UK, if you get a sick note from the doctor, that means you don't have to look for work. But it's like, they can smoke weed all day, they can drink all day, but for some reason they're unable to work. It's bullshit. They're just lazy.
So we found, okay. So Savannah shared this subreddit with me, and immediately I went sort by top posts of all time, and their top post of the subreddit is just a mwah, chef's kiss post. And so we wanted to read that for you today and react to it and just drag the absolute fuck out of it, because honestly, after reading this post, I'm like, this is what's wrong with men nowadays. Okay, so the title of the post is "Today I Became a 40-Year-Old Virgin NEET. Some reflections on my life so far." I just turned 40, so I've been a NEET for over half my life now. Never had sex with or kissed a woman. Never had a real job either. I want to talk about my life a little so younger NEETs know what mistakes to avoid. Please change your life while you still can. You don't want to turn out like me. I cry every day because I'm so depressed. I hate myself. I wish I could have given a shit when I was younger.
Feel good, uplifting, happy post, Lilith.
Yes. I'm going to cheer you all up. Okay. No, so, I mean, I'm just going to walk you through my emotions reading. Okay, so not going to lie, first paragraph, I actually kind of feel bad for this guy. I'm like, oh, like, that's really terrible. Like, unless the person deserves it, I'm not the sort of person to just enjoy another person's suffering. But then as the post goes on, you realize, okay, he does deserve it. So there's that. Okay. So he continues. It all started when I dropped out of high school. I was 17 then and had just one more year to go. I was being mercilessly bullied and started skipping school because of it, so I had to repeat a year. I lost all my motivation. I had a dream of being a scientist, and I knew I needed a high school diploma for that, but I hated being made fun of and bullied so much, and I gave up on it.
That's sad. Like, that is sad.
Yeah, that's sad.
It's terrible to be bullied. You know, teenagers especially can be really fucking mean to each other. So, again... So far, I feel bad for this guy. That summer, after dropping out, I stayed in my room and got sucked into the internet. These were the early days of image boards and BBSEs. I don't know what's a BBS? Let me Google this, actually. Bulletin board system. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so like the early internet where it was just like free-for-all forums.
Early days of image boards and BBSs, and I spent a lot of time talking to other NEETs on there. I got into EverQuest and spent hundreds of hours in that game.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, Ro, what is EverQuest?
It was another like early internet game. I remember my brothers went through an EverQuest phase.
Oh.
Where it was for children.
So it's like Minecraft of the early 2000s?
Yeah. Yeah. But it was like, if I'm not mistaken, it was like for children. And it just got taken over by, it's like a role-playing video game that doesn't ever end.
Oh.
So it's called EverQuest.
Is it like what's the world, like a open world game versus like okay, I'm looking at it. Oh yeah, multiplayer online role-playing game. Okay, cool.
I think South Park did a pretty funny episode about it where it was a bunch of kids playing it and then they kept getting beat up by some
old men, weird old men.
Yeah, some middle-aged overweight guy living in his mom's basement covered in Cheeto dust. Like it was actually a whole trope and a meme for a while because like the kids wanted to play and they could never play because the middle-aged NEETs would just like go around killing them and being dicks to them all the time.
Oh, okay.
Right? And everybody being like, now that it's jogging my memory, I remember it being like a huge online controversy because it was like, well, the kids never get to have a good time on this game because the middle-aged losers keep taking it over. So he was probably one of those.
Well, to be fair, this guy, he's in his late teens, so he's not a middle-aged loser yet, but he is going to be one. So
okay.
This is his middle-aged loser origin story. So yeah, he spent hundreds of hours in the game of EverQuest, made lots of friends online. You know, he says, for the first time, it felt like I had a community. I didn't really know what to do with my life. My mom wanted me to take a high school equivalency exam and go to college, and I continuously lied to her that I would. 3 years passed, I was 20, and I still had no high school diploma or job. My mom was getting sick of me and threatened to kick me out unless I at least started looking for a job. So I pretended to look for one.
Okay, so this is where the waste mannery begins. Like, why are you pretending to look for jobs when...
That's when I'm less sympathetic with him. Yeah.
When you can just look for a job. Like...
Yeah.
God.
Like, the amount of effort it takes to pretend to look for a job is probably the same as the amount of effort it takes to actually look for a job.
Actually look for a job.
Right? It's not saving effort.
You know, it wasn't like you had to do like a 5-stage process for McDonald's back then like you do now. Before, you could pretty much, you know, walk around town with your CV. Those are the days you could walk around your town with a CV and you could have a job by the end of the week.
Shake hands with the manager.
Exactly.
Yeah. So... he writes, I didn't want to work in retail or a customer-facing job because I thought they were below me.
I often find that, like, lazy people often think that, like, jobs are below them when it's like, no.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre. Hardworking people, they'll do anything just to bring in money or to work. But it's always the laziest people who have some sort of complex about working certain jobs.
Yeah, that's, in fact, it was this moment in this story that I stopped feeling sympathetic for him. Because I'm like, first of all, you're like 20. Okay, I worked in fast food. I worked in retail when I was in my teens and early 20s.
Yeah, everyone's done a retail stint. Yeah, when you're young.
You know, like, that's a coming of age thing. It's a rite of passage. It's something we all, you know, unless you're like crazy rich and, you know, you literally don't have to work, right? But for most like middle class or working class people, having a retail or, you know, customer facing job is part of life. I think it's a really important part of like young people's development, honestly. So the fact that he's saying like, oh, I'm too good for like a retail job, I'm like, fuck you, double middle finger to you, because these are jobs that are important to society that need to happen, you know, and the people who do those jobs deserve respect.
And especially when you haven't done anything, like, you know, let's say if you'd been working since you were 14 and you had qualifications and I mean, I still think it's a shitty attitude to have because, like you said, Lilith, like, those jobs are still important and you shouldn't look down on people. But I'd be like, okay, fair, like, you can do something else. But you've not worked a day in your life at this point.
Yeah, exactly. If you haven't worked a day in your life, no job is below you. Like, you're actually below that job.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Like, if you've never had a job, a fast food job is actually above you. Like, know your fucking place.
And the weird thing is, like, I've definitely seen this attitude among some of my own male relatives where they don't have shit, but, like, because, you know, my grandmother worked hard and my grandfather worked hard to provide, like, a semi-comfortable lifestyle. They think that any lifestyle below that is beneath them, but they don't have shit. Right? Like, they don't have skills, they don't have a job, and they're just going to leech off I have some cousins like this, unfortunately, like, who are just going to leech off my grandmother probably till she dies. Like, and they're just like,
that's so sad. It's like elder abuse borderline, like financial elder abuse.
I mean, it is. And like, she's retired now, and unfortunately my grandfather passed. So I know she has some life insurance money. So they're not rolling in cash, right? Like, they have a comfortable life. They both work working class job back, you know, when you could make a comfortable living and buy a house on a working class job. So like, they're not rich by any means. And they also worked working class jobs. So the fact that some of my cousins think they're above it because of the fact that my grandparents made a comfortable life for themselves is just absolutely disdainful.
That makes me angry because I have to fight my grandma not to give me money. Like, there's so many times where she'll be like, or if she knows I'm struggling financially, she'll offer me money. She's a very generous, very kind, very loving person, and I don't want to take advantage of that. I do have cousins who do take advantage of that, and it does kind of piss me off.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather just blow through my entire savings than, you know, I basically I have to get to a point where I'm like really, really desperate before I'm willing to accept money from my grandmother, even though she's not struggling financially. It's just a pride thing.
They're also like elderly too. It's like,
she needs it for her retirement, you know? She's earned it.
Exactly. Like, my grandmother keeps talking about moving, but she knows if she moves, then she doesn't know what the hell is going to happen to a bunch of my freeloading ass cousins and aunts and uncles for that matter. But yeah.
So let's get back to the story. Yeah. Because there's a lot to get through in this episode. Okay. So he says, so I thought these customer-facing jobs were below me. In the back of my mind, I still thought I could become a scientist if I just applied myself and took some tests to prove that I was a genius.
Biological delusion, as Rose said.
Yeah, biologically delusional. Exactly.
No way he did.
This is an example, actually, of narcissism. Again, delusions of grandeur. That's a narcissistic trait. Okay.
Man, did you watch like one of those Hollywood movies? Or you watch like Good Will Hunting or something and think, it's not that I'm underqualified and awkward and socially weird. It's that I'm secretly a genius. Oh, no.
I'm secretly a genius. Yeah.
Oh, no.
He writes, I had all these crazy Chun Biyu? What the fuck is that? CHUNNBIYOU. What the fuck? Oh, wait, it's CHUUNIBYOU.
It's a type of, it says chunbyo, a Japanese colloquial term typically used to describe early teens who have grandiose delusions, who desperately want to stand out, and who have convinced themselves that they have hidden knowledge or secret powers. Oh, man.
So, like, people who watch too much anime and they think, oh my gosh, I'm the main character here. I have like a secret power. I just, you know, I haven't had my mentor come up to me and tell me I'm the chosen one yet.
Yeah, apparently it's a derogatory term that they like call a lot of these NEETs.
Okay, yeah.
Shouldn't be. So as a Japanese, it's used to describe early teens who have grandiose delusions.
Literally narcissists.
They're convinced themselves they have hidden knowledge or secret powers. Imagine there being like a term for that, because there's so many
people like that.
There's so many Japanese boys sitting around like, oh, one day some sensei is going to come to me and tell me I have magical power within me. Then I'm gonna stunt on all y'all.
Like I went to high school in like a suburban areas, like 98% white people, and like these white boys who watch too much anime would be running around during recess like Naruto, like with their arms behind their body, like, like I have the power of God and anime on my side. That kind of kid.
Oh my gosh.
I had all these crazy Chunbyu ideas about my own intellect, and I believed that I was a hidden genius of some kind that other people could not see, but that I was certain I had it within me. I believed I could do anything if I just stopped being lazy and set my mind to it.
He's not wrong, it's true.
Except work a job, a basic retail job.
I believed I could do anything if I just stopped being lazy and set my mind to it. Correct. That is true. But the thing is, you have to stop being lazy. And here's the thing, like, even if he is smart, I mean, he's not, but if he was smart, intelligence without work ethic is like a bird without wings. Like, you're just a fucking penguin waddling around being useless and shit, okay? Like, and here's the thing is, even if you're not intelligent, if you're hardworking, you're actually in a better situation or more likely to succeed than an intelligent person who is lazy. Anyways. That's just my 2 cents. But anyways, I even thought I was some kind of chosen one, and that's why I was so different from the others, never had friends, and was bullied and made fun of. Thinking back on it, I want to cry because I was so deluded. Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, this is where some therapy would have been beneficial of some kind.
No, he just needs to stop fucking watching anime and, like... I know anime, it's
like self-protective narcissism, you know?
Maybe, but I do know a lot of these kids who watch way too much anime or too many movies, and they think that real life is like movies. Like, you know, kids who like didn't really socialize with other kids or by hanging out with other kids. They never really learn how real life works. They think everything's like a movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Get off the internet.
So maybe like, it's not even therapy. Yeah. It's like, get off the internet, stop watching anime, go talk to some people. I know it's hard. And yes, you're going to have some social failures and stuff, but you know what? Like, you know, people sometimes get up in my Twitter mentions being like, oh, not everyone can have good social skills like you, Lilith. And it's like, you think I never failed? You think I never had awkward social interactions?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. Like a lot of us extroverts learn by catastrophic failure multiple times.
Right? Like... What matters is like having that social failure and then picking yourself up after and then keep trying rather than being like, oh, I had an awkward moment. I'm just never going to interact with another person ever again, because that just solidifies your poor social skills.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, you don't even have to be an extrovert. You can be an introvert, but still know how to conduct yourself. And also like, you know, these things are a skill as well. It's really quite annoying when people think that things just come naturally to everybody, and in a lot of cases that's not true.
Yeah, it didn't come naturally to me. In fact, my parents did a really fucking bad job socializing me because they were narcissists. So I had to learn the hard way in like high school and in college how to be a human. I had to self-socialize myself, right? And so yeah, like I strongly encourage everyone, if you have bad social skills, or if you're socially awkward, if you struggle to connect with people, like don't let that be an excuse to not connect, to not try, right? Like,
yeah,
it might be harder for some people than others, especially as we learn in this story. You know, we find out he's autistic, right? So it can definitely be harder for some people, especially if you're neurodivergent, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible for you to learn. It's very possible.
Exactly.
And like we said in our episode, I think about how to make friends. Mm-hmm. Didn't we talk about that? We had a couple of strategies for people who were like socially awkward or even neurodivergent too. And also I think there were some tips on that in the actual autism episode, the episode we did with the autistic queens.
Yeah.
There's some skills there that are very graspable for most people.
And it just takes time and it takes practice. And I know it can be really scary, especially if like you have a lot of anxiety or you feel really anxious in social interactions. Like if you have a really bad social interaction, it can actually be low-key kind of traumatizing, honestly. Like, but it's important to kind of work through that and not let failure permanently destroy your life like that. Like in this case, right?
Yeah, everything doesn't come easy to everybody. So some people it's social skills is their struggle. Other people it's math. You know what I mean? Like it's just, it's just one of those things you have to learn.
Exactly.
Be functional. Yeah.
So he continues, after I couldn't get a job because I never looked, my mom pulled some strings and got me a position as a cashier at a grocery store, her friend was the manager of. I shouted at her that night and said the job was beneath me, but I still went. Okay, first of all, fuck you. Your mom did a really nice thing for you getting a job. She put her neck on the line with her friend by getting you that job. Do you not realize that?
I've been almost stung by this before. I'm very, 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 very hesitant to give out recommendations for friends and family. Unless I know that person is absolutely going to boss it, but I'm very, very hesitant to do it.
Yeah, because it makes you look bad if you give a bad recommendation.
It makes you look bad, and they don't appreciate it. Some of them just do not appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like setting someone up on a blind date, right? Could be good, could be catastrophic.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so in my own experience with my own family, very similar reactions to female family members trying to get some of the NEET male family members a job. In addition to them like deliberately failing the drug test, if there's a drug test for the job, like showing up, knowing they smoked weed, in the past couple of weeks, knowing they have a drug test on a certain date and still showing up and failing the drug test. So stuff like that where they self-sabotage.
And they don't give a shit that it ruins the person's like reputation who recommended them as well. Like they don't give a shit about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also pretty like I won't recommend a job. Like I won't recommend somebody that I know for a job that I don't think they'll do a good job of. But fortunately I do know a lot of really awesome people. So I mean, like I wouldn't recommend like my shitty family members, but I do know a lot of really awesome, really based women, through work connections and so on. And so just like a little bit of a career advice there. That's another reason why it's important to, make connections with other women, especially high quality women, because the job that I have currently, for example, I got from a former mentee. So those sorts of, investing in women in the present can pay off in the future. So, but that's sort of off topic. But anyways, yeah, so he yelled at his mom for getting him a job. Fuck this fucking ungrateful scrote. Anyways, I was at the job for a week before I had a panic attack and broke down. After that, I quit. I felt naked and afraid of other people. I could feel them glaring at me. They knew I was different. They were judging me. I could not even look them in the eye. I would get so scared if they tried to make small talk, and I never knew what to say. I would go to the bathrooms to cry. I always had anxiety, but 3 years of being a hickey, Hikki. What the fuck is that? Hold on.
All these like obscure Japanese references.
Okay. So hickey, I'm not pronouncing that right. I apologize to the entire country of Japan.
Hikki?
Yeah. So it's slang for a person who lives a reclusive life from society in their room.
Oh yeah. Okay. I know you're talking. They actually did a long documentary on YouTube about the hikikomori.
Oh yeah.
I think. And it's like, they're also called hikki, but it's like, it's boys who are recluses.
Oh.
And there's a huge problem with it in Japan, actually.
That's very weird, yeah. Anyways, being a hickey NEET had made it so much worse. I forgot how to talk to people. I mean, this paragraph, I kind of feel bad for him. But again, it's like, that's rough, but that doesn't mean that you should give up. It means you should keep practicing, like, just because something's hard doesn't mean that it's not worth trying to improve, right?
Yeah, it's tough. Does this guy he didn't make a single friend? That's what makes me kind of sad for him on one hand. It's like, you didn't have any friends from high school. Like, yes, people are jerks and people try to bully others, but...
Especially like the whole male pecking order thing is like sometimes groups of men they'll find... Like, there will be sometimes groups of men and there's like one man in the group that's, I guess, like the... one that they all pick on or whatever, the sort of like pecking order. He's at the bottom of the totem pole. And that's unfortunate. And that's one of the reasons why men kind of suck. But again, like maybe sucks to suck. No, I'm kidding.
But it can also, I mean, to be fair, like in high school, because I went to one that was really, really cliquey and I joined late. So if you weren't there by the time they were in 7th grade, because I joined in like 12th grade, they'd all made their friendship groups and everybody was nice to me. But it was really difficult to get in and actually make like long lasting friends. But that being said, like high school is not the best years of your life. You can still make, friends at work or
that's what
at university
college is
or
for.
college. Even if you don't go to college, there are other ways you can make friends. It isn't like if you were the high school loner, that's the way you're going to spend the rest of your life, unless you choose to.
Well, it sounds like he made his friends from the internet, from other socially awkward losers. Like, here's another thing, actually. so humans, we're social animals and we're influenced by the people that we choose to spend time with. And so when all of the misfit weirdos get together, they tend to like make each other more weird. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. There's certain online communities of just weirdos and they just perpetuate each other's weirdness. Like they'll even start to imitate, like if one person's weird in one way, they all sort of become weird like that. It's like
social contagion.
Social contagion. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're a misfit, I mean, yeah, you should hang out with other people who are similar to you, definitely. But like, try to broaden your social circle such that you're including people that you want to be more like. Because if you're spending time around people that are behaving in a way where, you know, if you were to behave like that, it makes your life worse. You know, you should want to have friends that make your life better, not worse. I hope that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so he writes, fast forward 3 more years, I got an official Asperger diagnosis. This was when I started becoming more aware of women and wanting a girlfriend. I was always attracted to girls, but I never really felt lonely until this point. I thought when I became a mad scientist, I would get a girlfriend easily, but by now I had accepted that was never going to happen because I didn't have my high school degree. And also because as part of my diagnosis, I had to take an IT, I have to have a straight face. Okay. And also because as part of my diagnosis, I had to take an IQ test and only got 121, which made me extremely depressed as I used to fantasize about my IQ being 160 to 180. I didn't know where to meet women. I didn't drink alcohol, so I couldn't pick them up at bars, and I was too anxious anyway. So imagine living your whole life thinking you're an evil genius, or not an evil genius, like you're going to be a mad scientist and you only got 121 IQ.
Yeah. Man.
Imagine being this socially awkward and not even that smart.
Man, like, oh, it's just painful because it's like
watching a train crash. Yeah.
Yeah, the hits just keep coming.
Yeah.
I feel like anytime he could have got off this train, I mean, you can even do GED programs at night or GED programs, you know, from your home.
I mean, he doesn't have a job, so he could do it during the day too, right?
Yeah, exactly. You could do it online. Well, I mean, if you don't want to see people, if you're just scared to death of like running into classmates or anything, like even if you didn't, you had to like slowly work yourself up to get a job. Like he could have still been working on his education and likely not have to force himself with social interaction or be interacting with other people also getting their GEDs who might be in the same boat and made friends that way.
Yeah.
So there were so many exit points that he didn't take from this life.
Yeah. Due to sheer fucking laziness and delusions of grandeur. Anyways.
This episode is sponsored by Ana Luisa Jewelry. That's ANALUISA. Hey Queens, Mother's Day is around the corner. Go to shop.analuisa.com/female dating to get beautiful pieces of jewelry during their special Mother's Day sale at buy one, get one 40% off.
And with their high quality jewelry at affordable prices, Ana Luisa's unique designs will make you or the wonderful women in your life feel special and shine like the stars you are, even if it's a bit late for Mother's Day in the UK. If you would like to get your hands on some fantastic carbon neutral jewelry, then please go over to shop.analuisa.com/female dating.
They release new jewelry collections every Friday, so there's always new designs. I love my temple green necklace. It's an elegant double gold chain with a malachite pendant. Make your mom's day by going to shop.analuisa.com/female dating and treat her to new jewelry pieces with Ana Luisa's buy one, get one 40% off sale. That's ANALUISA. That'll be one piece for her and one piece for you. Anyways, I decided to find a girlfriend on the internet. Online dating wasn't as big as it is today then, so I usually meet people on IRC. There was a girl on what's IRC? Hold on.
Man, all these internet acronyms that only these NEETs know. I have no idea.
Yeah, you can tell we're not super online.
This is like perpetually online, deep internet.
Yeah. The three of us were not super online. The fact that we have to keep Googling what these fucking words mean. IRC, Internet Relay Chat, is a text-based chat instant messaging system. Okay. Good to know. Okay. So I decided to find a girlfriend on the internet, online dating, blah, blah, blah. Meet people on IRC. There's a girl on IRC that I was really good friends with, and I had a feeling she liked me as more than a friend. We used to talk late into the night about games and anime. She wasn't bitchy like the girls I knew in high school, and she actually shared my interests. I actually fell in love with her. I had seen her photo, and she was cute, albeit in a handsome way. This detail is important. She thought I was cute too. One night, I built up the courage to tell her my feelings. To my delight, she said she had feelings for me too. I was so happy. It felt like my heart was about to burst. I went and told my mom that I got a girlfriend, and she was proud of me. Aw, okay. That's kind of cute.
Yeah.
Honestly, can't hate on that. That's a cute paragraph. But I mean, except for the line like she wasn't bitchy like the girls I knew in high school. Like men, like the whole like, oh, she's not like other girls. Like,
yeah,
you know, like that's kind of. He's misogynistic. So the story continues. We ended up dating for a year. I offered many times to fly her out to my state, but she declined, saying she wasn't ready yet. However,
Hold
one
on
night,
a minute. Where's he getting this money to fly her out to his state? Where's he getting it from?
from his mom. I mean, maybe the mom is thinking like, oh, it's going to be like failure to launch or whatever, where, you know, if he gets a girlfriend, then she'll motivate him to improve his life. Maybe that's what the mom was hoping for. Maybe that's why she was proud, but...
It just goes to show that if he wanted to, he would. He's willing to fly a girl out to his state, but he's not willing to get a job. Like, if he wanted to, he would. Even for men who are NEET. If they want to see you,
that's the thing.
If they want to see you, they will. So there's
They'll
no
find a way.
excuse, ladies. Even literal bums will find a way if they want to see you and take you out.
So, but she declined, saying she wasn't ready yet. Wait, okay, so first of all, they've never met and they call each other boyfriend, girlfriend.
And they're dating.
That's like, okay, I don't understand the concept of like long distance relationships where you've never met. That's not a relationship. You're internet friends.
So in the early days of the internet, I swear to God, all the like creepy dudes who never got women to talk to them before suddenly had
girlfriends.
Like, girlfriends that lived on the other side of the world.
Oh, she's in Canada. You wouldn't know her.
She's in Australia, etc. And there was one guy in particular who had a girlfriend he would just send money to. Because he's a fucking clown.
Queen. Good for her. No,
but actually good for her, because the crazy thing, let me tell you what this guy told me, where I was like, I clued him in. I was like, you know, every time you keep asking to meet her, she keeps like crying and saying she's like, has emotional anxiety getting on planes. And yet you keep sending her money. You might think that like, you know, maybe she's got someone else. And I think there was some kind of evidence she even had a boyfriend already. And then he was like, no, but she loves me, etc. And he was like convinced he was going to get her to fly out to see him and then eventually go fly out to see her. And then she finally agreed, I guess, to be his like quote unquote girlfriend. In exchange for money. Did I like screw up the story? But anyways, like he was basically flirting with this woman online for a while. And like, she didn't agree to be his girlfriend until he started sending her money. And then when I asked him about it and like clued him in that like, maybe she's taking advantage of you, he was like, well, it's okay. So I'm going to like flirt with this other girl I met online. Right. And this other girl also started saying, hey, I can't see you, but can you send me some money? And then maybe we could meet up somewhere in between, like where you live and I live, and it's in Australia. And then he says to me, like, man, I'm really excited because this might be the first opportunity I have to cheat on a girlfriend. So like, he was really excited that both of his fake girlfriends existed, who may or may not have actually been his real girlfriends, because he wanted the opportunity to actually cheat on a girl. Because he's that big of a fucking loser, and
he deserves to get rinsed.
He wanted to tell people he cheated on a girl because he thought that would make him look, I'm assuming because he thought that would make him look more desirable to people instead of like a massive loser.
Oh my God. My God.
I might have screwed up the story a little bit, but essentially it was just like a bunch of fake, like pretend girlfriends who were definitely leeching money. And then I ceased to feel bad for him when I realized like, oh, he's loving the ego stroke of having.
Yeah. As soon as he's like, oh, I want to cheat on a girl, I'm like, yeah, you deserve to get rinsed. Drain his bank account, sis. Send in the cavalry.
Yeah. I stopped talking after that. I was like, oh, okay. Good luck.
Anyways. Okay. So plot twist for this story for the NEET. However, one night she wanted to meet me too, but she said there was something important I had to know. What is it? I asked her. You can tell me, babe. I love you. She said she was transgender. She said she had a penis. I was shocked. I felt so betrayed. I broke up with her immediately.
Jerry.
So, yeah, this seems like it should be on like daytime TV.
Whenever somebody calls you up, it's like, I have something to tell you. It's never good. It's never good. This is peak, like,
put her on Maury.
90s, early 2000s Jerry Springer material.
So, he says, I was shocked. I felt so betrayed. I broke up with her immediately and called her a sick, perverted weirdo. I also used the he pronoun to refer to her. She said she was crying and she hated herself for not telling me. She said she was afraid she would never get a boyfriend if she was honest. I blocked her and told her to never contact me again. I was depressed and started drinking after this. Okay, I honestly feel bad for the trans woman in this situation. Like, that was mean and uncalled for. I mean, yeah, I probably should have been upfront about that, but still.
A year, though.
But come on, you're with somebody for a whole year and you don't tell them. Like, come on, that is, I'm not excusing his behavior, but something like that needs to be disclosed up front. Especially if you're going to enter into a relationship. I don't know what she thought that...
Everyone sucks here.
Am I the asshole? Everyone sucks here. I'm not sure what she thought the end game would be. Like, you're just going to see her dick and be like, yeah, cool. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea what the trans woman here was thinking, but it's like, well, you know, the bro here didn't do his due diligence, let's just say.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Anyways.
I also often found as well that people who seem to jump on these online-only relationships, there was always a reason why they had to only go online. It was never like somebody who could get girls in real life, you know, they would get women in real life. They're unlikely to go for this online, haven't seen you for a year relationships, like never seen you before relationships. They just don't do that.
I remember there used to be such a stigma against people who had to meet people online. It was only for losers when it came out. And this was why. It's because everyone else who could meet people in real life.
Because they were losers.
Yeah, they were losers. Because it was only... Because people weren't perpetually online yet. And it was only these people that used to hang out in these bulletin boards and chat rooms. And also like sexual predators, right? That would try to lure in teenagers.
Yeah.
So... yeah, there was such a massive stigma against online dating that I guess is only, there's a stigma now, but for different reasons that like existed because of the fact that it was only like the bottom
barrel people,
you know, not the cream of the crop. Let me put it that way. That's a little bit nicer. Not the cream of the crop.
He continues, looking back, I really regret the way I treated her. I regret it more than anything else in my life. I'm so lonely these days. I would gladly take her company. In fact, I would worship her and treat her like a princess. I was so happy that year when I would stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning to talk to her. I felt so warm when she told me she loved me. I would get butterflies in my stomach. It felt like I was in a romantic comedy, and I've never experienced that feeling again.
So he wants her back because he's lonely. That's it.
That's the thing. It's like, reading that paragraph, I was like, so he doesn't so much want her because he liked those of any qualities that this trans woman had. It was more like, oh, I realized I couldn't do any better kind of thing, right? Like, that's so scroty.
Yeah, I'm alone. Yeah.
Yeah. So... time started moving really fast after that. Subjectively, the next 5 years felt like 1 year, and I can't remember much about them. My mom was diagnosed with cancer, and I hired someone to take care of her because I was too busy drinking, gaming, and fapping, which is all I did.
Where's he getting this money from?
Where's the money? Yeah, and then two, he did start drinking because he said he didn't go to bars before because he didn't drink.
I guess he started drinking to cope with his shitty life. But this is another thing, is like the idea of having a stay-at-home son that doesn't take care of his mom. You know, it's like there are so many women who live with their parents and their mom, and the daughters usually take care of the parents and the sons just don't. Like,
yeah,
you know, like that's just like, so he's a leech basically. He's so much of a leech he can't even take care of his mom with cancer. Like, that's why, again, my sympathy meter is drastically falling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So too busy drinking, gaming, and fapping. He says, I was depressed and I used that as an excuse to never try to change. I'd get up at 2 or 3 p.m. and stay up till 5 or 6 a.m. drinking, gaming, and fapping. Ironically, I started getting into transgender porn. I think it's because I got bored of normal porn and it didn't arouse me anymore. My alcoholism kept getting worse.
He's a full-on coomer. It's like this. Yeah, this is the criticism of a lot of porn, is that like it can be not just addictive to guys, but that it just changes their baseline level of sexual attraction and gives them
they want more and more unusual things.
Yeah, seek out more extreme things in order to get aroused, and it's not healthy for them and definitely not for society.
I do think it's hilariously like this sort of bitter irony that he broke up with the only girlfriend he's ever had because she's transgender, and then he ends up getting into trans porn.
Yeah, all these exit ramps he missed. So
many decisions he could have made differently that could have made his life better, and he just didn't make those decisions. So again, minimal sympathy. So he writes, the year I turned 31, my mom died. I got so depressed, I became a full-time alcoholic. I would drink until I passed out, and when I was hungover, I would drink so it would go away. I walked around naked in the house I inherited, carrying a bottle of booze and pretending I was a character from an anime or a game. Just want to pause. So again, like even at like rock bottom, I mean, it gets worse actually, but right now I would consider this rock bottom. So even rock bottom, he's still fantasizing about being a main character. Right?
Oh my God.
I spent the rest of my time I spent jerking off. I developed all sorts of weird fetishes, including feet and armpits. And I even started jerking off to gay porn because straight porn didn't do it for me anymore. After almost 4 years of this lifestyle, I managed to seriously damage my liver and I had to go to the hospital.
Oh no. Jesus Christ.
And he still did this after, his poor mom, bless her soul, passed away.
Yeah.
And he inherited a whole house and he's still this useless. And this just goes to show, like, when people say, right, we need to give, people who are homeless or down on their luck, we need to just give them more money. That's a very simplistic view of looking at it. For some people, yes, giving them more money and resources will help. But for other people, it's just not going to help. There needs to be a bigger intervention. This guy needs more than money to get him out of, whatever hole he was in. Because it clearly wasn't the problem. The problem was, I guess, in his case, it was his mindset and his, lack of drive and clearly some, past trauma from high school that was causing it. But just giving people money is not going to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He inherited a whole ass house and he still did nothing.
Yeah, he could have sold the house, use that money to, like, I don't know, get a less expensive house or something, and then, get his education.
Gone back to school, like, even people who work hard, like, they, not everybody is in a position to inherit a house. Like, he was in a very, very good position at the time his mum passed away financially, and he's still pissed up the wall.
Yeah. It continues. He says, at this point, a distant uncle from my father's side of the family heard of me and paid for me to go into a special rehab program. Here I spent a year and a half getting sober. I made a few friends, but we weren't especially close. They had more interesting lives. They all had girlfriends or wives. I had nothing going on. I had nothing to talk to them about except for alcoholism. By the way, I'd fallen out of touch with my online friends many years ago, so these guys were my first friendly contact in years.
Can't you just make new online friends?
Yeah,
sorry, I know that seems weird.
Isn't it super easy to make friends online? Like,
yeah.
Not to have like a let them eat cake moment, but it is super easy to make friends.
But it's like, how are you so antisocial you can't even make
online friends?
Online friends. Yeah, this is bad, man.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say this guy's actually extremely lucky, first of all, to have a mom that supported him financially all these years, who could get him a job, that he could inherit a house and savings from, and having an uncle on his father's side. Like, this guy's in a semi-privileged situation. Like, there's a lot of people who are in his situation there's a lot of people, if they were in that situation, they'd be homeless right now. Right?
Yeah.
Like, he's got so many people in his life, even though he thinks he's super alone and has nothing, he actually has like people in his life who are, saving him from the consequences of his own bad choices.
And some people who study the homeless will note that a lot of men especially become homeless because their female caretaker dies, usually their mother or their sister, or they piss them off so much.
Or they burn their bridges.
They burn their bridges, right? They piss them off so much that they no longer are allowed to live with them. And so it's like, they have options, they just don't choose those options, which is a mental and emotional problem. And it's not always like as simple as like, oh, they have a mental illness. Some of it is like extreme delusional narcissism that they're like special somehow.
Honestly, this might make me sound like a terrible person, but I think men like this can't be saved. I think the only thing that can be done about them is just to allow them to perish on their own time. I don't believe we should like go in and like, obviously we shouldn't slaughter people for being like this, but like, they're going to just not reproduce because, again, they don't have the drive to find a wife. They're not going to have kids. And I think it's just better if their bloodline dies out. Honestly, that's just probably the best thing for society.
The thing is, it's like, yeah, what else are they going to do? A lot of these guys will just commit petty crimes so they can go to jail for a little while and get 3 squares a day. You know what I mean? It's like there's just no...
Honestly, and that would be like a better situation for them than whatever the fuck this is. Like, yeah, no, I don't know. The thing is like people only want to, people will only change or improve if they want to change or improve. And men like this, they do not want to change or improve, right? So they won't, right?
And if there's a big enough like consequence as well, another, I guess, criticism of the homeless hostel that I worked at anyway, and I think others as well, is that there was just no consequence if they didn't show up to their support sessions, if they didn't get a job. You know, sometimes like the hostel would even like collude with them to, you know, they'd be working but still be claiming benefits, which was illegal. There was no consequence for them.
Yeah.
And it even got to the point where it was actually detrimental and self-destructive to their own life, but they just didn't see a big enough need to change. Like, they'd always complain, I've got no money at the end of the month, but they'd never think, actually, maybe I should get off benefits and get a job. They'd never think that.
Yeah. Again, like these people, this type of person, I mean, they don't want to change. They don't want to improve. And if they don't want to change, they won't.
Yeah, there's a lot of men like this.
Too many of them like that. I've come across a lot of them. Deeply entitled, lazy, and selfish.
Right. And this is why FDS is, I think, the solution to all of society's problems. Maybe not all, but a lot of them. Because if women as a collective raise our standards and don't have sex with and don't have children with low effort, shitty men, you know, men say, oh, there's going to be a lot of single women at the end of the day who don't have kids. Well, yeah, I'd rather that than a bunch of women paired up with shitty men who will detract from their lives, detract from their children's lives, especially, right? So, I mean, it's probably for the best if men like this just don't have families. Like, you know, the only men who deserve to have families and kids are men who are going to model ambition, drive, and healthy relationship dynamics.
It's really tough because this is like the hardcore conservative argument that you guys are making, right? So, and it's
yeah, and I used to call myself a Marxist. I guess I'm a conservative now because no, I'm kidding.
Like the solution that conservatives have is like in tandem to them telling these guys to get up and get their ass up and that they deserve to be at the bottom of society is that like they think women should take a lesser role so that these guys can integrate. So like their solution is based on our oppression, which is like, well, they need to be motivated by the idea that they can get a girlfriend and they can get all these kinds of things. And I'm not sure where I stand on any of this. I'm just pointing it out because I don't.
No, I think women should work and have our own. Women's quality of life should already be high, and then the standards should be high for women. So that, like, again, men are like, like, there's so many men that aren't going to meet that standard. Good. That's the whole point. Only the best quality men should be allowed to have families.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I hate to sound like a conservative talking head, but I'm not really coming at it from any political angle. I'm coming at it from a, you know, I guess like a pragmatic and a lived experience angle. And everyone else who works in the hostel, they think the same as I do. And they're definitely not like Tories or uber conservative. They just had years of experience with dealing with these kinds of like primarily men, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Because it's especially my friends or relatives who've worked in like public facilities or whatever. You just start to understand that half the time the sob stories that are presented are not true or greatly exaggerated because these people fundamentally don't want to ever have to take responsibility for their own lives or their choices, and it can be pathological.
Yeah, and it's not to say that there aren't like systemic barriers for people who are low income or people who come from certain like marginalized backgrounds and so on. Those barriers definitely exist, and it definitely makes things harder. But the thing is like you could have all the privilege in the world. Like this guy, he has a fucking mom who takes care of him, got him a job, an uncle who paid for his rehab. He had all these privileges. He had all of these privileges and he still chose not to take advantage of that and still chose to fail.
It's not a case of trying and failing. It's a case of not trying at all because you think you're entitled to better that you've never proven to anyone that you deserve.
Exactly. Like this is a man who actually has a lot of things going for him in life and he chose not to take advantage of them and he just chose to like be a lazy piece of shit. Yeah, I mean, like what can you say about that? Like there's no systemic barriers keeping this guy from succeeding, right?
Yeah, that's why I've noticed a lot of working class people too. Like it's very split when it comes to this subject. And because of the fact that like all of us can name some bums in our family where like
who don't even try.
They just don't want to do shit. Yeah. And they don't even try. And on this, you know, and on the other hand, especially if you add things like racism, et cetera, like, but there's just a lot of guys that just see like, well, everything's racist or everything's like, this job is beneath me. I'm in a career, et cetera, or I'm going to be a rock star or whatever they think they're going to do. I'm going to be a rap star. And they, you know, they put one song on SoundCloud and then don't do shit. And then
they're like, oh, well, I tried.
Yeah.
Not hard enough, motherfucker.
It's weird.
And another thing is like, it also sort of links back to the idea when, you know, men say, or men age like fine wine, my best years are ahead of me. It's like, well, possibly, but things also get a lot harder as you get older. Like, I know people who said, I'll go to uni when they were 18. You know, they're now 30 and they still haven't gone. Like, you have to, you know, sometimes you have to maximize the opportunities that you get as a teenager and as a young adult, because you literally won't get them again. Like, life tends to get, you know, more complicated, more difficult the older you get.
Yeah. Inertia also sets in, right? Like this guy, the fact that he was so sedentary perpetuated his own sedentariness, if that makes sense. You know?
Yeah. It's a cycle.
Like when you have no momentum there.
This is the reason why literally every religion hates laziness and sloth.
Yeah. I think it's like every religion and every culture throughout all of history.
Every religion, every philosophy. Yeah. It's like, there's just this absolute antagonism towards anybody who's lazy. And I think it's because of the fact you can see that they don't do anything and then they just become a leech, right? And it's not even a leech because they can't. It's because they don't.
Yeah, I feel bad for his mom. Like, she, like no woman or any, like, no parent deserves to give, like birth to a child that is that useless, quite frankly. Like,
yeah.
He couldn't even look after her when she was sick because he was too lazy.
Yeah.
Like, you literally had one job and you couldn't do it.
I love how we're like barely even halfway through this story. Actually, no, just over halfway through the story. We're already like dragging him, talking about philosophy, talking about society, marginalization, oppression, systemic barriers, and all that stuff. And we're not even halfway through this story. Anyways, so continuing on. When I got out of rehab, I wanted to give myself another chance to finally get a job and get my life together. I tried really hard. I used my savings to get a suit tailored. I had a professional review my resume, which had nothing on it except my basic details. Somehow, I actually got an interview. It was for a sales position. Okay, I relate. Okay, no. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Okay.
All right.
Okay. It was for a sales position at a company that manufactured water coolers. When I showed up, the guy interviewing me was a 25-year-old who was the hiring manager for the whole firm in my state. He said he was intrigued by my unique background. Instead of work experience, my resume had a paragraph about how I got sober and was ready to reintegrate into society, and he wanted to hear more. So I told him the story of my life. It became clear he wasn't taking any of it seriously and had only called me in for his own amusement. The whole time, it looked like he was barely suppressing his laughter, and when I concluded my tale, he actually laughed for a good 30 or so seconds in a clearly... in a clearly malicious but weirdly jovial way, so I couldn't be clear if he was just joking around or intentionally making me feel like shit. It was probably both. He said he would call me back if they decided I was a good fit. I never got a call back, and since then I've never tried to look for a job. Years have passed. I'm 40. I'm living the same life minus the alcohol, and when I write about my life story, I don't know where I went wrong.
What? What?
There's so many places where you went wrong, my friend.
So many places where you could have made a better decision there, buddy. Okay.
Yeah.
Somehow, it seems I just went wrong everywhere. Correct. Yes, that is the only correct thing he said this whole time.
Yeah, every single thing. All of it.
I don't even know if this will help anyone. Well, it's helping us because, I mean, we get to make some content out of it. I just wanted to get it out there. If it helps even one person, I'll be glad. Please let me at least be an example of what not to do. Don't turn out like me. My life is hell. Change while you can.
And his username is Waste of Space 406.
Self-werewolves.
So accurate.
But, you know, he's also still living off his mother's savings that he inherited. Bearing in mind she passed away like a decade ago, can you imagine just how much money that she must have had if he's still living off it to this day?
Yeah. In the comments, it's like, how do you support yourself now? And he replies, my mother's savings that I inherited.
Jeez, it's so infuriating.
And it's like, how much money did he inherit? that he's not done anything with his life,
In a decade.
He could have started business, could have gotten an education.
It could be life insurance too. Like if she died, she probably had the foresight to take life insurance on herself to make sure her clearly dependent son wasn't destitute.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, again, she sounds like a relatively smart, capable, forward-thinking person, right? So, yeah, I don't know what happened with him. Like, a lot of people in this situation often blame the mom. And, I mean, I don't know the whole situation, right? And yeah, there are moms that kind of treat their sons like a little prince and like never, they don't try to force them to do the right thing until it's too late, when they're like in their teens and 20s. I feel like with men, all the socialization has to be upfront, like under the age of 12, because after the age of 12, they stop giving a shit about what you think, right? So, I mean, there could be that, but in this situation, it sounds like she did the absolute best that she could, and he still turned out a fuck up, right? So I blame him.
I mean, someone even said, like, honestly, I feel the worst for your mother. She probably died either hating you or blaming and hating herself for you ending up this way. Mm-hmm. And that's really sad because it's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you put a boot in your son's ass if you're a mom? Like, because, I mean...
your adult son.
Yeah.
She tried. Like, it sounds like she really did her best.
Yeah. Like, some men, I don't know, like, things like ambition and drive are actually largely genetic. Unfortunately, like, it's...
I don't know. Is it an Asperger's thing? Because I don't know enough about this particular part.
No, because honestly, okay. As I was reading this story and I was contemplating doing an episode for it, I was like, oh, are people going to get mad at us? Like, oh, you're just making fun of this autistic kid. No, there are plenty of autistic people who are hardworking, contributing, intelligent members of society who would not... It actually feels insulting to autistic people to say that everything about the way that this guy is because of autism.
Yeah.
It's actually offensive. Like, nothing about being autistic means that you're going to turn out like this. And there are plenty of men who turn out like this who are not autistic. Okay.
True.
So
True.
I don't think the autism, maybe it makes it harder for him to socialize. It makes it harder for him to do certain things. Right. And I empathize with that. That being said, autism and ambition or drive have nothing to do with each other. Like, they're completely separate traits. And so, yeah, like, it's unfortunate, but there are some people that are just born, or maybe it's like 50% genetics, 50% socialization. I don't know. Could be nature, nurture. But yeah, there are some people that just don't have drive, just don't have ambition. And I mean, I don't think they deserve to like suffer, but at the same time, it's like, come on, like, you had so many chances, buddy. You had so many things going for you.
The other thought too, and this is again like more the conservative argument, is that like, this is where I feel like single moms always end up getting blamed, because they feel like if he had strong male role models in his life, he wouldn't have ended up like this. So we don't know anything about his dad. And it seems like he just had some distant uncle finally check in on him when he was like in a coomer stupor.
His dad could have died when he was young. We don't know that.
Yeah, we don't know what happened with his dad.
His dad could have been abusive. We have no idea what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, his dad could have been shit. So that, like, some of that too is like a big question mark too about like, yeah, what's up with this dude's dad, that he just abandoned them and let his coomer son just be like a perpetual coomer asshole, let his coomer child turn into a coomer adult and now a coomer senior citizen. Like
now a coomer middle-aged man, yeah.
Coomer middle-aged man and eventually a coomer senior citizen, because who are we kidding?
Can I just say I low-key relate to the 25-year-old manager, because I've been in that situation before. I'm like, I'm in my late 20s now, I guess. And yeah, I mean, I became manager when I was like 24, I think. So I was like quite young. And, there have been times where, yeah, I'm like a really young manager, and then there's people on my team that are older than me, and they think they're better than me just because they're older than me, even though they have like nothing to fucking show for it. Like they think just because they're older than me that they're the boss, or think that they're entitled to shit, and they think, oh well, you're young. Like, I don't know, just the way he said like this 25-year-old who's a hiring manager for the whole firm in my state, as if like, yeah, so what? Some people are just really young and hardworking.
Yeah, it seems weird the manager would call him in to waste both their time, unless the resume was like really a joke. Like maybe the resume was really bad.
Okay, first of all, like I personally, and I've never heard of this, where like if I saw a resume that I didn't like, I wouldn't call them, right? Most hiring managers won't like call these sorts of people back. Although there have been times where in my industry, again, sales, like it's really high turnover. It can be hard to get staff. There are a lot of summers where, for example, especially summers where we would just be understaffed and, I'd hire like maybe less than ideal candidates or people without a lot of job experience and stuff. And there've been so many people that I've hired, especially women, where they didn't have any job experience because they were either like single moms or their husband just died and so on. And a lot of these women ended up being great hires because, they might not have much job experience, but they really had that drive, that motivation. They wanted to learn. They were really eager to improve and so on. Right. And so, and again, this is a very stark gender difference where, women with no experience for whatever reason, they often end up great hires. Men, first of all, I preferentially hire women in general, but I can't think of a single male employee I've ever had where I gave him a chance and he turned out well. Like there was one guy I hired because he'd just gotten out of prison for like a drug charge. And yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's another gender difference is like men who don't have any work experience, generally it's because they were either just in jail or they're like this guy where they're just lazy pieces of shit. Women who don't have any work experience, it's usually because like they got pregnant when they were really young and like, it's not until their 30s or 40s that their kids are old enough and they can, get work or their husband died or something like, or they have some kind of misfortune. I had a hire once, she was like 50 and she was a housewife. She had no previous work experience. But again, like she was a great hire because she really wanted to learn. She really liked working. She liked having her own money. Her husband had died. So yeah, I don't regret hiring at all. Debbie, she was a great lady. Anyways. And then men in that situation, they usually suck again. So, and that's why I think discriminating against men at work is morally justifiable. Anyways.
So this is a really sad, a long, winding, sad tale.
I relate to this hiring manager because I've been in that situation. And yeah, fuck this guy. I don't think he called him in to waste his time. He probably did call him to try to give him a chance. And then he probably, when he told his life story, it was probably like, I always knew I was the chosen one.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. And then the hiring manager probably immediately regretted giving him a chance. And that's what he was laughing at. Yeah, I can see why you've never had a job, right? But no, actually, the guy I hired who got out of prison for a drug charge, he actually was a pretty good salesperson. Again, drug dealing, sales, it's a similar skill set, transferable skills, right? So he wasn't that bad. That was the one exception.
Because yeah, drug dealers actually have to work. Drug dealing isn't exactly an easy profession either. So yeah,
it's a sales position. He had relevant skills.
Right, exactly. I would put that shit on my resume with no shame. Like if I was a convicted drug dealer, hell yeah. I'd be like, yeah, man, I used to be a street pharmacist.
You know what though? Actually, another hire that I had that I absolutely did not regret was actually an autistic woman. And it's because of this woman actually that I have a sort of soft spot in my heart for autistic women, right? And she, again, I was kind of like wondering like, why would she apply for a sales job if she's autistic and hates talking to people? But she ended up being, again, like she really, really improved because she really wanted to improve, right? And she ended up being like, maybe not the best salesperson, but she was pretty good, right? So again, I don't want to blame his shitty behavior on the fact that he's autistic because there's tons of autistic people who are nowhere near as fucking shitty and are actually great people. So yeah, I feel bad for this guy. Hopefully he gets this shit together, but who are we all kidding? You know what I just realized? This is the type of person, I'm going to look at his profile, see if he harasses FDS, because this is the type of person who would spend their entire day crusading against the FDS mods because they have nothing better going on in their life, right? Like as FDS mods, they're...
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, if he was at least out committing crimes, he'd be like, even though you wouldn't necessarily call it a quote benefit to society, he at least would have probably some kind of support system somewhere because he'd go to jail and then he could like make some buddies in jail. You know, I don't know. Like,
well, it's not just that, but like, I don't know. There have been so many times as FDS mods where we'd be in the group chat, like, who are all these people who spend like 16 hours a day harassing us? Like, do they not have jobs?
They don't.
They don't. They're like this guy. They probably hang out in anti-worker and NEET. And then they're like, oh, you know what? I don't have anything going on in my life. You know what will give me meaning in life? Harassing these random women off of Reddit. Like, so, okay, can I tell you something funny? So I clicked on this guy's profile and wanted to see if he had any history of harassing FDS. He does not. Okay, so maybe this guy doesn't harass FDS, but his post 1 year after the one that we just read. Title is Lost My Virginity Last Night, age 40. And it was removed, so I can't read the body of the post, unfortunately. But the comments, top comment is, "You fool! If you had kept your virginity until death, you would have been reincarnated as an isekai protagonist, and now you've lost your chance. I plan on keeping my virginity for the next life, where I'll marry a kitsune girl in the lands of Gensokyo."
Man, I don't know what they're talking about.
What the fuck are they talking about?
Weird internet NEET subculture language that none of us understand. This guy, and I'm gonna guess it was probably paid, even though the post is removed. That's likely the case.
Someone just straight up said, "I doubt it, honestly."
Another comment, "How does the pussy feel when your cock go inside it?"
Oh no.
Oh my god. Honestly, like, okay, so if you ladies are still hanging around on Reddit and you ever get sad about the trolls in your DMs or on the post, this is what they are. So don't feel bad, ladies. Just don't, because high value men are not perusing the subreddit, getting outraged and making, making spin-off subreddits or making YouTube videos crying about our content. They're just not doing that. So yeah.
Oh my god, I'm just going through the comments on this and like, oh my god, there's so many bad comments. But this has been a long enough episode. We're over an hour now, and maybe we'll drag some more NEET posts another day.
Yeah, NEET is this is real sad.
They're on our radar now. They're on our radar, so
yeah, I just want them all to know that we don't feel bad for them. We laugh at their misery, and I hope they continue to suffer.
See you next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh.